This is Resonance 104.4 FM. Flippin' marvellous. How are you? I'm Nick Hennegan and welcome to another slice of literary London here and of course on bohemianbritain.com. How have you been since last we interacted? I don't know why I find that slightly amusing, but anyway, I hope you're well. It's been an interesting couple of weeks for me. I spent some time in Wales, look you. I keep saying look you, and I don't quite know why I do that. It's not really very fair. Is it a bit racist, that, almost? Anyway, sorry about that. Although, you know, my mum's side are Joneses. My dad's side are obviously Hennegans. So I'm a real Celt. I think that's what they call me anyway, wasn't it? Hennegan, you're a right Celt. You're a silly cat. Anyway, yeah. So I had a great time, and I've moved once more to write a composition as a play that I've sort of started. I did about 6 scenes a few years ago about Dylan Thomas. It's called The Roaring Boy, I think. That's the provisional name for it anyway. And I'm going to I'm motivated every time I come back from Wales to carry on with this play. And I must. So if we ever meet anyway, just say, hi Nick, how's the Dylan Thomas play going? As I say, I did a few scenes for him of the play, and we performed them at the Wheatsheaf pub in Fitzrovia, Rathbone Place, just north of Oxford Street, which is where, of course, my London literary pub crawl starts now. We used to start at the Fitzroy Tavern, now we start at the Wheatsheaf. Upstairs, with Di's the gaffer, good lad. Talking of Welsh things and positives. And we did it for Dylan Thomas's family, for Hannah and for Dylan's son-in-law, because I kind of wanted to get a feel for how they felt if I was sort of moving in the right direction. And also I wanted to use some of Dylan's brilliant poetry as well. Fortunately, they were very happy. So I really should get on with it, shouldn't I? Yes, I should. So next time you see me, Nick, how's the Dylan Thomas play going? Yeah, or words to that effect. We've got some great stuff coming up. I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time. I think I might have done. I'm going to be at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival this year in August. And unusually this year, I'm not directing or writing or producing a show. I'm doing all of them. I'm also presenting. Yes, because the very first ever Edinburgh London Literary Pub Crawl is going to take place at 3:00 every day, apart from the 14th of August, which is my birthday. Yeah, you know, if you need to send things, then just, you know. Or if you're in Edinburgh, of course, you can buy me a drink. So, yes, 3:00, we're at the Pleasance Dome, right slap bang in the middle of Edinburgh. And elements of the London Literary Pub Crawl will be in it. I haven't, to be honest, between you and me, although the festival launch, in fact, is this week, the Pleasance Edinburgh Festival launch in London is happening this week. But between you and me, I haven't actually kind of written it yet. I have been in touch with none other than Sir Ian, him of the Rebus. Yeah, through social media. Nice bloke. And he's given me a few suggestions as to creative, artistic and poetic pubs. And of course, being Edinburgh, they've billed the booking as a 1-hour thing. Well, I've never done a literary pub crawl in an hour, so I'll just have to learn. I'm only learning. It's all about taking my guitar and doing a couple of songs. There's a song, because it's 30 years since I've been going to Edinburgh. That's the other reason for me doing it. So I went 30 years ago, and it changed my life. It completely changed my life when I saw what was happening with the Edinburgh Festival. I think I've probably bored you with this before. I did a version of Shakespeare's Henry V called Henry V, Lion of England, and we did it for one night at the Midlands Arts Centre in Birmingham, in Cannon Hill Park. Lovely place. And I thought at the end everyone was running to the bar. And it was in fact a standing ovation. And it's one of those glorious show-busy type stories. A bloke came to me in the bar afterwards and said, that was rather good. We'd like to take you to the Edinburgh Festival. And I went, what's the Edinburgh Festival? And I'd never heard of it. But I got up there. This was 1992. And if you know the Edinburgh Fringe, it's the biggest open arts festival in the world. It's not just the Fringe. That's the big one, perhaps, now. But there's opera, and, of course, there's the book festival, which we're going to be talking about, Edinburgh Literary Festival. So it was remarkable. And I thought, why, thought I, being from Birmingham, Britain's second city, sorry about that, Manchester. Yes, why does nothing like this happen in Birmingham? So that was kind of what ruined my life. I started Maverick Theatre, doing plays for people from my background who didn't go and see plays. And it's been downhill ever since. 30 years. Oh, yeah. And I look a lot older than I am. Thank you. That's the arts. The arts, I said, yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I say, don't tell anyone I haven't actually written it yet, but I've got a fair idea of how it's going to go. It'll be 3:00 from the centre of Edinburgh every day. So come along. It's actually Pleasance handling all the booking and stuff. So, have a look for. I think I'm not even sure of the name yet. I think it's going to be called the First Edinburgh London Literary Pub Crawl. There are some very good pub crawls, or at least some literary tours in Edinburgh already. So I'm going to get in touch, reach out to them, as it were, and see how we get on for that. So it should be an interesting and exciting August. I've got my digs sorted, which is always a big problem, and I'm in the same digs I was at last year, and it's a weird sort of continuity. Oops, sorry, I should have turned my emails off, shouldn't I? Sorry about that. There's a weird sort of continuity that I know where I'm going to be all of August, and I know where the digs are, and I know the local pubs and the local places to get something to eat, and I'm fortunate in a sense, although I've had to make it happen, and taking a show to Edinburgh is hugely expensive and getting ever more expensive, I think, certainly in terms of accommodation. I shocked people with a quote I had for 3 actors for a 3-bed flat in Edinburgh 2 years ago. I was quoted for the 3 weeks of the festival, £10,500. 10.5 grand for 3 actors to perform at the Edinburgh Festival. It's not really on, is it, the Fringe? It's not. In fact, we moved them elsewhere. We put them in Leith, which is just up the road, which is a very lovely place as well. And I'm in student accommodation, which is not sort of a commercial rate. Still sort of 2 grand for 1-bedroom flat for 3 weeks, but that's what you got to do, ain't it? Eh? Yes, and that's what I am doing. So that's the Edinburgh Festival. And I mention this as well because I'm talking to, I don't know if you've seen the Channel 4 TV show called Skins. One of the performers in that, she's also taking a show to the Edinburgh Fringe. It's her first show, I think. And she's a young actor. And the show she's taking up is about being a young actor and then realising that your career's peaked. So she turns to sex work as a way of surviving. I don't know any more about the show than that, but we're going to have a chat with her. I'm going to record it as well, hopefully. A video chat will do, so of course it'll be online at bohemianbritain.com, the video, and on YouTube, and of course the audio will be here. I'm just having a quick look through. I can't think of a name offhand. I should know, shouldn't I? I should have prepared myself more, but Skins is a Channel 4 show that's sort of very what would you call it, really, I suppose? I haven't actually seen it, which is probably indicative of what a good show it is, because it was aimed very much at younger people, Skins. And the actor is called Megan Prescott. So she's going to be talking to us over the next few weeks. She will also be doing London previews, which is also quite usual for shows that are going up to the Edinburgh Festival. I wondered if I could do a London preview of the London Literary Pub Crawl. I suppose we do, because we're out every Saturday. I'm not presenting it at the moment. Richard is. If you've done the London Literary Pub Crawl, you'll know Richard. He came to acting quite late. I hope you won't mind me saying that. But he's put as he says to me, there's a script. It's a very tight script that I wrote. Oh, yes. That involves about 3 pub stops and lasts about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. There's some acting in it. There's illustrations of great things that happened around Fitzrover and Soho with people like Anthony Burgess, who wrote A Clockwork Orange. He was threatened by what they called in those days a razor gang in the Marquis of Granby, the Duke of York. The Proles pub from 1984, we go there as well. And Richard, I think, loves doing it because he's been doing it for a couple of years now. But as he said to me, he said, I've put the pub crawl back into the literary pub crawl. And I wasn't quite sure what I meant until it turned out that apparently one Saturday, the record for this pub crawl, which is supposed to last about 2 to 3 hours, depending on the group, is 14 hours. Oh, yes. We also know 1 or 2 of the clubs in Soho now, and they know us. So, 14 hours. I mean, don't be put off, by the way. It doesn't have to be a 14-hour pub crawl. But he likes the social side. And I get it, because the people that come on the London Literary Pub Crawl are all very interesting people, very lovely people. I suppose you would if you booked to come on a literary pub crawl, wouldn't you, around Soho and Fitzrovia. So it'll be interesting to see how that transfers. And I say, stick around, or keep listening for news of the interview with the Skins Channel 4 star, Megan Prescott. She's also going to raise another interesting thing, and I'm sort of slightly cautious myself, but another interesting thing is she's raising money to go to Edinburgh by selling, I think, a nude picture of her on a website called OnlyFans. So it's going to be very interesting, and I'm quite looking forward to talking to Megan. And if you've got any questions or comments even now, then don't forget, I always love to hear from you. You can email radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. That's me, radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk. Or you can email me at nick@bohemianbritain.com. Oh yeah. So good I got two emails, or so disorganised I've got two emails. nick@bohemianbritain.com. Either of those will get you through to me. If you've got any questions for Megan, or if you want to talk about the Edinburgh Festival, or don't forget if you're organising anything, or if you're a writer yourself, if you've got any, if anything you're up to at the moment, you've got a book, you've got poetry, is there an event happening, then do get in touch and we'll feature you. It's always lovely to hear from you. So that was Wales, and I'm an hour and about throwing in a bit of Dylan Thomas. But of course the big event, certainly in the UK this week, has been the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings. And I'm always, because my dad was a veteran, he dropped in Arnhem in the Second World War. He lied about his age, joined up young from a very sort of impoverished Irish Yorkshire background. Oh, crikey, I really must turn that off. Sorry about that, guys. And I'm always sort of quite interested to see these festivities. And I always find them very moving as well, I have to say. I find them very moving and yet also vaguely horrible, because you were celebrating something that never should have happened. And when you look at what's happening now in Europe and in the Middle East, and it sort of feels so wrong. And I was minded of this when I was writing this play I was telling you about, Henry V, Lion of England, in 1992, that we put on at the Midlands Arts Centre. And I was just going upstairs to my bedroom. I'm writing a blog post about this, by the way, on bohemianbritain.com. Have a look if you get a chance. You can sign up or subscribe or whatever you call it. It doesn't cost anything, just do it for a bit of a laugh. bohemianbritain.com was a post on there about it. And as I was going upstairs to finish, and I'd been writing about the Battle of Agincourt, I could hear on the television news all this stuff kicking off in Bosnia. And I just thought, hang on a minute, what is all this about? And in fact, the last two lines, and it might be a bit egotistical to quote your own two lines, the last two lines of my version of Henry V, Lion of England, which is where I kind of rewrote the storyteller. One actor has to play 12 characters. Henry V's in there. The Battle of Agincourt is in there, and it's not a comedy. My mate Rob Williams, who you will have heard, or you'll have heard lots of his music. He does all my music for me now. He did a soundtrack, and we had explosions and bangs. And in fact, we only had one actor on stage. We actually had four people backstage to try and make it all happen. And the last two lines, and I was moved when I looked at this. It goes something like, "Leave us now, rebuild your satellite ravaged radio-built world," whatever the words, I can't remember. But the last two lines, just think of our tale. That's right. Think of our tale. Look at the world and muse. How little mankind has learned, and how much we still have to lose.
Just you wait and see. I'll never forget the people I met, braving those angry skies. I remember well as the shadows fell, the light of hope in their eyes. And though I'm far away, I still can hear them say, thumbs up. For when the dawn comes up, there'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow just you wait and see. There'll be love and laughter and peace ever after. Tomorrow, when the world is free, the shepherd will tend his sheep, the valley will bloom again, and Jimmy will go to sleep in his own little room again. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see.
We do not yet know what will happen in France, or whether the French resistance will be prolonged, both in France and in the French Empire overseas. The French government will be throwing away great opportunities and casting adrift their future if they do not continue the war in accordance with their treaty obligations, from which we have not felt able to release them. The House will have read the historic declaration in which, at the desire of many Frenchmen and of our own hearts, we have proclaimed our willingness at the darkest hour in French history to conclude a union of common citizenship in this struggle. However matters may go in France or with the French government or other French governments, we in this island and in the British Empire will never lose our sense of comradeship with the French people. If we are now called upon to endure what they have been suffering, we shall emulate their courage. And if final victory rewards our toils, they shall share the gains. Aye, and freedom shall be restored to all. We abate nothing of our just demands. Not one jot or tittle do we recede. Czechs, Poles, Norwegians, Dutch, Belgians have joined their causes to our own. All these shall be restored. What General Weygand called the Battle of France is over. I expect that the Battle of Britain is about to begin. Upon this battle depends the survival of Christian civilization. Upon it depends our own British life and the long continuity of our institutions and our empire. The whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned on us. Hitler knows that he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we can stand up to him, all Europe may be free, and the life of the world may move forward into broad, sunlit uplands. But if we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age, made more sinister and perhaps more protracted by the lights of perverted science. Let us, therefore, brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour.
you go, a fairly eclectic look at the celebrations, commemorations, and tragedy of war. That last track was Piping Hot from Scott Cawthorne, I think it was. Weavers of the Tartan was the album. Yeah, and quite moving and emotional, and you've heard various other bits and bobs of speeches and music sort of celebrating or commemorating the fact that this week was the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings, which kind of brought to end eventually the Second World War, and some very emotional scenes from the very few soldiers that are left now, the few veterans that are left. And that's all we've got time for. A fairly eclectic show. We've been to Wales, to Scotland, we've been to war as well. Thank you for your company. If you'd like to get in touch, as always, radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk, radio@mavericktheatre.co.uk, or Nick, N-I-C-K, at bohemianbritain.com. Oh, I've got my own, Nick at bohemianbritain.com. And failing that, I shall see you next time. I'm Nick Hennegan. This is Literary London, not only on bohemianbritain.com, but mainly, of course, on Resonance 104.4 FM.